what are active and passive voice? If we talk about most basic level, in active voice, a sentence emphasizes subject performing an action. Okay, active voice emphasizes subject performing an action. And passive voice, sentence emphasizes the action or the object of the sentence. Okay, the passive voice emphasizes the action or the object of the sentence. You just have to keep these two definitions in your mind to understand active and passive voice. Okay, now, as I told you before about the present tenses, that we have three forms of present tense: the positive one, the negative one, and the interrogative one. So let's look to the positive sentence of active voice. The formation of positive sentence of active voice is that we put the subject, first form of verb, s or es, object, subject, first form of verb, helping verb, and object. The helping verb in the positive sentence of active voice in the present simple tense is s or es. As we all know that in present simple tense, we use the first form of verb and helping verbs s and es. So, as you can see the example, he reads a novel. So here you can see, first we have put the subject, the first form of verb read, then we put the helping verb s, and then the object a novel. He reads a novel is the active voice. Now, the question arises, what is the passive voice of this sentence? In passive voice, we have to put the object is, am, are, third form of verb, by, and then the subject. Object is, am, are, third form of verb, by, and then the subject. As you can see in the example, a novel is read by him. A novel is read by him. So first we have replaced the subject with the object, a novel, then we are using is, then the third form of verb read, then we are using by, and then him, the subject. A novel is read by him. This is so simple. You just have to keep in your mind the formation of active and passive voice. Now, the negative sentences of present simple tense. First we have to put the subject. Just simple addition is that we have to put do not, does not. Then we have to put the first form of verb and then the object. Subject, do not, does not, first form of verb and object. He does not cook food. He does not cook food. And what will be the passive voice? Yes, we have to put the object is, am, are, not, third form of verb, and by the subject. So it will be food is not cooked by him. You can see the difference. He does not cook food and food is not cooked by him. This is so simple. You just have to exchange the place of subject and object and just have to put is, am, are, and by. Okay, keep this in your mind. Now moving towards the interrogative sentence. The formation of interrogative sentence is so simple that we have to put does, the start of this sentence. And then we have to put the subject, then the first form of verb, the object, and then obviously the most important question mark. Don't ever forget to put a question mark in an interrogative sentence. So, as you can see in the example, does he purchase books? We have to put does in the start of the sentence, and then the subject he, then the first form of verb purchase, and then the object books, and then lastly and most importantly the question mark. Does he purchase books? Question mark. And what will be the passive voice of this one? We have to put is, am, are in the start, and then the object, then the third form of verb, and then by and subject, and then question mark. You can say in the example, are books purchased by him? Present continuous tense. So now we are moving towards the formation of active and passive voice in present continuous tense. In simple or positive sentences, we put the subject is, am, are, first form of verb ing, and then the object. Subject is, am, are, first form of verb ing, and then the object. Isha is singing a song. In this sentence, we have put the subject Isha in the start of the sentence, and then the helping verb is, and then the first form of verb sing, then ing, singing, and then the object a song. Isha is singing a song is the active voice of present continuous tense, and the passive voice will be object is, am, are, being, third form of verb by, and subject. Object is, am, are, being, third form of verb by, and object. A song is being sung by Isha. Now what we do in the passive voice? We change the subject with the object. So we have put a song in the start of the sentence, and then we have to put is, and then being, third form of verb is sung by, and the subject is Isha. A song is being sung by Isha. Moving towards the negative sentence of present continuous tense. First we have to put the subject is, am, are, not, first form of verb ing, and object. Try to learn this on your fingertips. The subject is, am, are, not, first form of verb ing, and object. For example, Kritika is not chopping vegetables. The subject is Kritika, then we have put is, not, first form of verb is chop, and we have put ing, chopping, and the object is vegetables. Kritika is not chopping vegetables. Now, what would be the passive voice? Object, then we have to put is, am, are, not, being, third form of verb by, and then at the last the subject. For example, vegetables are not being chopped by Kritika. First we have placed the object vegetables, then are, then not, then being, then chopped, the third form, and then by, and the subject Kritika. Vegetables are not being chopped by Kritika. Moving towards the affirmative sentence. First we have to put is, am, are, and then the subject, first form of verb ing, the object, and the most important question mark. Don't you ever forget to put a question mark at the last of an interrogative sentence. The example is Ritika buying a table? Question mark. We have put is in the start of the sentence, then the subject Ritika, then the first form of verb buy, and then ing, buying a table, object, and then the question mark. Is Ritika buying a table? And what will be the passive voice of this sentence? First we have to put is, am, are, the helping verbs, and then the object, then the third form of verb, then by, and then the subject, and then question mark. Is a table being bought by Ritika? Question mark. Is a table being bought by Ritika? Question mark. This is it. This is so simple. You just have to keep in your mind the formation of every sentence. Moving towards the present perfect continuous tense. The affirmative or positive sentence is, we have to put the subject, then the helping verbs are has, have, as we all know, then the third form of verb, and then the object. Subject, has, have, third form of verb, and the object. For example, Nitesh has challenged her. Nitesh is the subject, has is the helping verb, changed is the third form of verb, and object is her. Nitesh has challenged her. And the passive voice of this sentence would be object, has, have, helping verbs, been, third form of verb, by, and the subject. Object, has, have, been, third form of verb, by, and the subject. For example, she has been challenged by Nitesh. So you can see that we have replaced the subject with the object and object with the subject. We have put she in the start, and then has, then been, then third form of verb of challenge is challenged, and we have put by, and then Nitesh, the subject. She has been challenged by Nitesh. Moving towards the negative sentence, the formation of negative sentence is that just we have to put not. We have to add not after has or have. Simple as that, we have to put the subject, has not, have not, and then the third form of verb, and then the object. For example, Radhika has not written an article. The subject is Radhika. We just added not. Has not, third form of verb is written, and then the object, an article. Radhika has not written an article. And its passive voice is object, has, have not, and then been. The third form of verb, by, and subject. Object, has, have not, been, third form of verb, by, and the subject. An article has not been written by Radhika. An article has not been written by Radhika. We have replaced the subject with the object, then put has not, and then been written by, and the subject. Moving towards the formation of interrogative sentence. In active voice, we have to put subject, put has, have in the start of the sentence, then the subject, third form of verb, object, and then the question mark, the most important question mark. For example, have they left the apartment? We have put have, the subject they, third form of verb left, object the apartment, and then the question mark. Have they left the apartment? Question mark. And what will be the passive voice of this sentence? We have to put has, have, then the object, then been, then third form of verb, then by, then the subject, and then the question mark, the most important. The sentence will be, has apartment been left by them? Question mark. Has apartment, has, the object, then been, then left, the third form of verb, then by, and then the subject, them, and then the question mark. Now, the past simple tense. The active voice of a positive or affirmative sentence is subject, second form of verb, and the object. Subject, second form of verb, and then the object. For example, John cleaned the floor. The subject is John, second form of clean is cleaned, and the object is the floor. John cleaned the floor. The passive voice will be object was verb because the helping verbs used in a past simple tense are was were. Then the third form of verb, then by, and the subject. The floor was cleaned by John. The floor is the object, the helping verb was, third form of verb of clean is cleaned, and then by and the subject John. The formation of negative sentence of an active voice in a past simple tense is subject did not, first form of verb and object. We never use a second form or third form with did. Whenever we use did, we have to place a first form of verb with it. So, the example is Asha bought a bicycle. We have to put the subject Asha did not buy a bicycle. The subject Asha, then the helping verb did not, and then the first form buy, and then the object a bicycle. The passive voice is object, then was were, then not, third form of verb by, and the subject. For example, a bicycle was not bought by Aisha. Moving towards the interrogative sentence, the active voice is did, subject, first form of verb, object, and the question mark. Did, subject, first form of verb, object, and the most important question mark. For example, did Sarah call my friends? Question mark. We have put did, the subject Sarah, first form of verb call, object my friend, and then the question mark. The passive voice of this sentence would be was were in the start of the sentence, then the object, then the third form of verb, then by, and then the subject, and then the question mark, the most important one. Was were the helping verbs, then the object, third form of verb, by, the subject, and the question mark. The example is were my friends called by Sarah? Question mark. Were my friends is the object, third form of verb is called, by, subject is Sarah, and then the question mark. Now moving towards past continuous tense. The active voice of positive sentence is subject, was were, first form of verb, ing, and then the object. Subject, was were, first form of verb, ing, and then the object. For example, Sarah was painting the wall. We have put the subject Sarah, and then the helping verb was, the first form of verb paint, and then ing, and then the object, the wall, full stop. And the passive voice of this sentence will be object, was were, then being, the third form of verb, by, and the subject. The wall was being painted by Sarah. We have put object the wall, and then was, and then being, and then painted. The third form of paint is painted, and then by, and then the subject Sarah. The formation of negative sentence is we have to put the subject, then the was were, and yes, then we have to put not, just an addition of not. Then the first form of verb, then ing, and then the object. For example, Manish was not repairing the car, full stop. We have put the subject Manish, then was, then not, and then repair plus ing, repairing, and then the object, the car. The passive voice of this sentence would be, yes, we have to put the object, then was were, then not, then being, third form of verb, by, and the subject. The car was not being repaired by Manish. We have put the object, the car, then was, not, then being, the third form of repair is repaired, and then by, and the subject, Manish. Moving towards the interrogative sentence, the active voice is, first we have to was were, then the subject, then the first form of verb, ing, the object, and yes, the question mark. So, for example, were you reciting the poem? Question mark. Now here we have put were in the start of the sentence, and then the subject, you, and then the first form recite plus ing, reciting, and then the object, the poem, and then the question mark. Now the passive voice of this sentence would be, was were, the object, being, third form of verb, by, subject, and then the question mark. The sentence will change to, was the poem being recited? Was the poem being recited by you? Question mark. First we have put was, then the object, the poem, then being, then third form of verb, recited, and then by, and then the subject, and then question mark. Now moving towards past perfect tense. The formation of positive or affirmative sentence is, in active voice we have to put the subject, then had, then third form of verb, and then the object. For example, John had cleaned the floor. We have put the subject John, and then had, then third form of clean is cleaned, and then the object, the floor. John had cleaned the floor. The passive voice of this would be, object, had, been, third form of verb, by, and then the subject. The sentence changed to, the floor had been cleaned by John. We have put the floor object in the start of the sentence, then had been, and then the third form of clean is cleaned, and then by, and then the subject, John. Now moving towards the formation of negative sentence of an active voice. We have to put subject, then had, yes, then not, and then the third form of verb, and then the object. For example, Sarah had not received the parcel. Sarah had not received the parcel. We have put the subject Sarah, and then had not, and then third form of receive is received, and then the object, the parcel. And the passive voice of this sentence would be, object, had not, been, third form of verb, by, and then the subject. The sentence has changed to, the parcel had not been received by Sarah. We have put the object, the parcel, in the start of the sentence, and then had not, been, and then third form of receive is received, and then by, and the subject Sarah. Moving towards the interrogative sentence. The formation of active voice of an interrogative sentence is past perfect tense is, we have to put the had, subject, third form of verb, object, and then the question mark. For example, had they caught the thief? Question mark. Now we have put had, the subject they, third form of verb of catch is caught, and then the object the thief, and then the question mark, had they caught the thief, question mark. And the passive voice is, we have to put had, the object been, third form of verb, by, subject, and then the question mark. The sentence has changed to had the thief been caught by them, question mark. We have put had, then the object the thief, then been, then the third form of catch is caught, and then by, and the subject them, and then the question mark. Had the thief been caught by them. Now moving towards the future tenses. First of all, starting from future simple tense. In simple or positive sentences, the active voice has the following formation. We have to put the subject and then will, and then first form of verb, and then the object. For example, Sarah will sew the bag. In this sentence, we have put subject Sarah and then will, the first form sew, and then the object the bag. Sarah will sew the bag. Passive voice of this sentence would be object will be, third form of verb by, and then the subject. The sentence has changed to the bag will be sewed by Sarah. We have put the object the bag, and then will, and then be, the third form sewed, and then by, and then the subject Sarah. Moving towards the formation of negative sentence. First we have to put the subject, then will, then not, first form of verb, and then the object. Subject will, not, first form of verb, and then the object. Sarah will not arrange the things. We have put Sarah, the subject, and then will, not, first form of verb arrange, and then the object the things. The passive voice of this sentence would be object will not be, third form of verb by, and then the subject. The things will not be arranged by Sarah. We have put the object the things, and then will not be, the third form of arrange is arranged, and then by, and then the subject Sarah. Moving towards interrogative sentences. The formation of active voice is we have to put will, subject, first form of verb, object, and then the question mark. Will, subject, first form of verb, object, and the question mark. For example, will you mop the floor, question mark. And in passive voice, we have to put will, object, be, third form of verb, by, subject, and then the question mark. The sentence will change to will the floor be mopped by you, question mark. Will, object the floor, be, the third form of mop is mopped, and then by, and then the subject you, and then the question mark. Moving towards future perfect tense. The positive sentence formation for active voice is subject will have, third form of verb, and then the object. For example, they will have brought the toy. We have put the subject they, and then will, and then have, the third form of by is brought, and then object the toy. Its passive voice will be object will have been, third form of verb, by, and then the subject. The tense changed to the toy will have been brought by them. We have put the object the toy, and then will, have been. Third form of by is brought, and then by, and then the subject them. Formation of negative sentence is we have to put subject, then will have not, third form of verb, and then the object. For example, Tom will not have changed the table cover. First we have put the subject Tom, and then will, and then not, then have, third form of verb is changed, and then the object, the table cover. And in passive voice, we have to put object, will have not, been, third form of verb, and object. That sentence changed to the table cover will not have been changed by Tom. Moving towards the interrogative sentences, we have to put will, then the subject, then have, then third form of verb, and then object, and then the question mark. For example, will she have written the notes? Question mark. Will she have written the notes? Question mark. We have put will, then the subject she, and then have, then third form of verb written, and then the object the notes, and then the question mark. The passive voice of this sentence will be, we have to put will, object, have been, third form of verb, by, subject, and then the question mark. The sentence changed to, will the notes have been written by her? Question mark. We have put will, then the object the notes, then have been, and then the third form of write is written, and then by, then subject her, and then the question mark. And with this, our today's topic is complete. Thank you for watching our video till the end. If you have any queries, do tell us in the comment section. Hit the like button if you like our video. Share our video with your friends and family. If you want the PDF of today's lecture, you can get the link from description.